and welcome to the Mila's Things Knitting podcast. My name is Maya, and this is the 6th episode, I think. We are the 9th of September, and I am coming to you from the French-speaking part of Switzerland, where we are having yet another heat wave. Yay! But this time I am filming in the morning, which means it's not as scorching hot as it could be in the later in the day. So we should be fine with the window closed, which means there should not be too much road traffic noise. I hope. Anyway, you can find me on Instagram as milahism.things, and you can also find me laying around in my couch these days trying to fight the heat by knitting on a schlenket in mohair. Why not? I'm full of good ideas. Yay! Apart from this project, I'm gonna talk to you about my other whip, and I have no finished object for today because the one I could have finished, I need to frog, and I'm gonna talk about that later. I also have some acquisitions for a test knit I got chosen for Jessie Mae, but it's a secret. And I will also talk to you about some sewing I did. I sometimes also sew too. And I think that's all for today. So let's get started. First, let's talk about what I am wearing, which is the 06 cable cutout by Eleanor Alice Knits. And it was a test knit I did for her back in spring this year. It was actually my first test knit, and I'm really happy with the result. It's really cute, but I will need to do a turnaround to show you the back because the main feature is in the back. So I will try to do that. So yeah, the pattern is called cutout because it's cut out. There is this cute bow happening, and pretty self-explanatory, I guess. I will probably put a picture so you can see it in a better way than me like twisting on myself weirdly, so that you can see it. The yarn I used is discontinued first, but not really. Let me explain. This is Olen yarns. It's the Meara base, which is a non-superwash 100% wool base, and it's a mill yarn that the owner of the mill, Jessica, makes herself. And it is kind of discontinued because she stopped producing at the beginning of the year, and she did a huge, not a distash, but destock. But she started slowly coming back to business recently, so I think she has like one colorway available, but she, as I said, slowly coming back, so maybe in the future there will be more. So this yarn is a fingering weight, and I used, the main color is called Garden, and the contrast, I'm not really sure you can see them really well, but it's a grey, like a medium grey, is called Darkened Room. And both of those colors were, after the Christmas season from last year, she made a pre-order so that you could buy the colorways that were in the advent calendar. And I didn't got the advent calendar, but I did for this year. But I still love the colorways, so I bought some, 3 actually. This one, the grey one, and kind of burnt orange one. And I used the whole 100-gram skein for the body. And I'm back with the body, but I don't know, I'm sorry. Body. And I used like 20 grams for the edgings. I did just 2 rows here, and then the border of the fold over hem and the inside. I'm not sure you can see it really well, but it's great. And also the tie in the back. So that's it for the yarn. I used 3mm needles, which is what's recommended in the pattern. And the modifications I made were I increased the waist shaping, which means I made more decreases on the sides. Maybe you can see the cables are disappearing kind of drastically. And I did smaller ribbings. It's supposed to be bigger in the pattern. And I also did a smaller I-cord tie. All of that because usually in patterns you have the same ribbing size across all sizes, and I'm usually knitting size 1 or 2, and I find the ribbings or the edgings are usually a bit too big for the small garment size I get with my size. So I kind of always do that. And I think that's all I did. So yeah, one thing I wanted to mention, this was a test knit as I said, and I'm pretty sure the pattern was not tech edited, and it was my first test knit, so I wasn't exactly sure what I should expect from the experience, and it was a bumpy ride. Actually, if I am honest, it was terrible. Eleanor was really nice, she was really easy to discuss with, and there was no problem regarding that, but it's just that the pattern was so full of errors, and it was not like sentences that were a bit hard to understand or whatever, it was just math and number of stitches errors. Yeah, and most of them were easy to catch beforehand, but one of the biggest mistake was that the number of rows you had to work for the front and the back was the same after you joined for the collar, which means this part was like this long because it was the same length as the back, which begins much higher. And I was the first one to catch that, but I had already knit the whole thing, and it was when I did the try-on that I noticed something was off, because basically it was, I cannot show you, but it was fitting weirdly. So I had to rip back the whole thing almost, and it was annoying. But anyway, I told her my input about that, my opinion on this subject, which is patterns should be tech edited before sending out a test. And as you can tell, because the patterns are numbered for her, so this is the 06 cable cutout. So I guess it's her 6th pattern. So really, it's okay to don't have a tech editor this early in your designing career, I guess. So maybe she didn't know, I don't know, didn't ask her. But I'm pretty sure now she has improved on that. So first, I recommend the pattern because now it has been tech edited by the testers. And now the pattern is flawless, it's really nice to knit. I love knitting on small needles, especially cables. And I don't know, the way it's laid out, it's just well constructed and well thought out, and it's a really great pattern. I really recommend it. And also, she has a lot of beautiful patterns on her Instagram page that I want to cast on too, but so many things to do. But anyway, I recommend this designer and her patterns, and that's kind of everything I have to say about it. Lovely, I love it. So, now let's get on to my whips. First, let's talk about the thing I need to frog. If you saw last week's episode, I talked about my Tolsta Tee, which I was about to finish. And I just needed to block it before finishing where was I? Yeah, I just needed to block it before knowing how much length I needed in the body. I blocked it, I tried it on, and it wasn't fitting. Yay! No, it was fitting, kind of okay-ish, but I just wasn't happy, and I knew I could do better. So I decided to rip it back. But I haven't yet, because there are so many helicopters flying today, I don't know what's happening. And even though I closed this window, I can hear them so loud from the window behind me. I'm not sure you can hear them or not, but I paused anyway. So I was saying about my Tolsta Tee that when I noticed something was off, it was like a morning before I left for work, and I just did a quick try-on to know how much I needed to knit for the length, and I noticed the fit issue, which I just can't stand. I guess for most people it's really no big deal, like nobody cares, but I do, and it's like it's itching me in the bottom of my guts. I can't stand that. So what's happening is, maybe I can try it on. I think I can try it on top of that. While I'm putting it on, first, this is knit in De Rerum Natura. I'll say it in French. De Rerum Natura. It's a French brand. The yarn is Antigone. It's 100% linen yarn, and the colorway is Héron. It's a bit weird because I have something underneath, but actually it's not doing the fitting issue it's doing when I don't have anything under, so I will have to kind of tweak it to show you. But basically, this is how, I have a mirror behind you, so I'm looking there. This is how I want it to fit. So the collar, the neckline is going down my collarbones, and the back is coming up to my neck, up there. That's how I want it to fit. But how it fits naturally when I don't have something grippy underneath that just puts it in the right place, it's sitting like this. And the neckline is coming over my collarbone, and the back is sitting really low there. And the reason it's doing that is because the raglan increases are, there are the same number of stitches on the front and on the back, which means the shoulders are exactly in the middle of the garment. And garments are not usually constructed like that. In knitting, yes, but in store-bought garments, maybe I will put up some video of me wearing, I have a red t-shirt I wear all the time, like it's my uniform, I wear that all the time. And I love this one because it's fitting well. And it's fitting well because the back, as I showed you before with this one, is coming up to the higher part of my neck, and the front, it's not really like the neckline is small, so it's not really coming down very low, but it's still coming under my collarbone. And the fit is very comfortable, like it's not going down or to the front, it's just comfortable. And this one, this is bugging me, this I don't like. And I really don't like either when the back is coming that low. And it's just normal for a raglan shaped t-shirt or sweater or whatever to have this sort of fit, because actually in the human body, maybe you can see that in the video too, the shoulders are placed, the beginning of the shoulders are placed more to the back, which means the back piece here should be shorter than the front one. So basically for this one, what I should do if I don't want to have that kind of fit, which is what's to be expected, because in most pattern pictures you can see, and also on the, did I say the designer? The designer is the Cray Avea, which is Rebecca Clow. You know her, everybody knows this pattern, so yeah, anyway. And this is size 2 of the fingering weight version, but I'm slightly off gauge, so it's a mix between size 1 and 2, so it's like size 1.8 or something, whatever. So what I should do is rip everything back, yay, up to the neckline, pick up my stitches again after I joined this, and move the raglan increases more to the back. So I have less stitches on the back panel and more on the front panel. And that should solve my issues. Because, yeah, whenever I put the t-shirt in the right place, how I want it to fit on the front, you can see, you can see that shoulder seam is coming almost to the middle of my shoulder here, and the front one is coming really bit low to the front. And that's not how it wants to naturally sit. Naturally, it will want to go back to this place, where the front seam and the back seam are equally seated on the front and the back of the shoulder. So I just need to move it so that this placement of the neckline aligns with this seam being there, and this one being up here. So I need to rip everything out, and I'm too hot, so I will remove this. And also I need the sleeve too long, but that's not a problem. Anyway, so yeah, when I noticed that, as I said, I had just left in the morning. I didn't have time to rip back before going out, and I had nothing else to knit. So it was kind of a difficult day. So I knit a little bit on the body while thinking about it, and when I finally took my decision, I stopped knitting and I contemplated the possibility to rip everything out while I was in the bus instead of knitting. But yeah, I decided not to, and I just thought I will leave this sit for a few days, think about it before making a decision so that I don't regret it later, and maybe think I could have just gone with this one without ripping it back. So I cast on something else, and then I got completely sucked in the new project, and this one is now in the naughty corner, and I don't want to touch it again. but I will. I mean, I need this in maybe 10 days, so it shouldn't be too long to correct it, but it's annoying. So yeah, this is my Tolsta Tee, which is not fitting because I have weird pet peeves. And yeah, I should for that after I film this. The project that sucked all my attention these last 2 weeks is... Ooh. Not sure how I can show it because it's huge. Wait, okay. So, this is... Ooh. And wait for the back. This is amazing. So, this is the Feel Good Shawl by Andrea Maury, and it's a brioche goodness all over, all along, and I need that in a week and a half. I have zero chill. This is actually the right side, but yeah, it's brioche, so reversible. And this is the wrong side. I mentioned this project last time in my future plans, and yeah, let me tell you about... Oh, it's so soft. Let me tell you about the yarn first. I have 5 colorways. 4 of them... Yeah, 4... No. Yeah, 4... No, 3. 3 of them are from... I mentioned that Olen Mills made a destock at the beginning of the year when she closed down business. And I bought a mystery pack of 5 skins. And those 5 skins were warm autumnal colors that are absolutely not my jam. I'm more like cool jewel tones, deep dark colors. But anyway, that's the game with the mystery packs. And I didn't know what to do with them, but since they were going quite well together, I decided to put them together in a project. So I first need a swatch that I half unraveled. I only have part of it left here. That's part of my swatch. But I have a picture of the original swatch. So the pink yarn is Olen Mills. It's DK worsted weight, non-spore wash, 100% wool yarn. It's the same as this one, but heavier. This one is fingering, this one is DK worsted. In the colorway, I don't know because I cannot read the label. Sorry. And then I have this dark brown, which is... Actually, I have the labels here. Dark brown is this one. It's called Killed, and it's the Sock Light base, which is 100% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and it's 425 meters per 100 grams. Then I used the mohair, which at the beginning here, this is the same as the main shawl, so that's what I'm using this to show you the yarns. And so I used the dark brown paired with the mohair for the second color of the first section. And the mohair is kid silk mohair, 72% kid mohair, 28% silk, 420 meters per 50 grams. And in the second section, I used the Sock Light held double, and the mohair held double for the other part. And for the third section, you can see it in my original swatch, I wanted to use this yarn, which is Explorer Knits and Fibers Earthy Decay in the colorway Linen, paired with the last colorway from the mystery pack I got from Olan, which is this one, which is called Queen of This Shit. It's also a Sock Light base. But somehow I didn't really like how this one was fitting with the others. And this one is beautiful by itself, but it's exactly not the colors I want to wear. I don't like wearing orange or light purple, or I don't know, it's just really not fitting me, I think. But it's beautiful. So in the end, I decided to swap this one out of the shawl, find something else, and use this one in my granny square blanket because I love it, really, it's beautiful, like it's a work of art, but I don't want to wear it. So I thought putting this one in the blanket could be the best way I can to have this one next to me, use it, see it and feel it, but not wear it. And I have put another 100-gram skein in the blanket anyway, so it's not a problem if I have 10 times the same square. So this is the plan for this one. So I went to my local yarn store and chose a colorway that would go well with this one and with the rest of the shawl. And I chose this, which is dyed by Delts. This is the yak sock base. It's 70% superwash merino wool, 20% yak, 10% nylon. It's a fingering weight, 400 meters per 100 gram. And the colorway is Jean Fils. Jean Fils Dirty, I'm saying it in French. Jean Fils Dirty Martini. That was a very local accent from here, but anyway. Jean Fils Dirty Martini. So this is like a military green or something, and it goes really well with this one. And I think the green and the pink complement each other quite well, and also the mohair has a greenish vibe, so yeah, it's working well, I think. Can you see that? Maybe. So I made it so that on one side I had the lighter and more beigey colors. So on this side you have the mohair held single with the sock light, the mohair held double, and the linen colorway. And then the other side you have the pink, the dark brown, and the green. So this is the more colorful side, and this one, the other, is more neutral. And I am hoping when I am wearing this beast, I can put the mohair away from me because it tends to itch, especially when I get hot. And I do that. Okay, it's still a little bit too small, but I am hoping everything will marl together or whatever when I wear it, and that the colors will just, yeah, look nice as a whole and not separated as I showed you before. Wow, it's too hot. That's what I've been knitting furiously on these last 10 days. And I have to say, I kind of got bored when I arrived at the middle of the second section because it was getting really long and each row was more than 200 stitches, so yeah. But when I got to the new section here, my attention was renewed and I was excited again. But now I'm slowly starting to get bored again. And I think I am maybe a third of the way through those skeins, so shouldn't take too long. I think it should be over in a week. But yeah, and I probably will not wear this until a few months, but no big deal. I still love it. Oh my god, it's so soft. What did I wanted to say? Oh yeah, I did the modification to the pattern. First, you can see the placement of the colors is very different from the original pattern. First, I didn't do any one color brioche. The second section is supposed to be one color brioche, and the original pattern uses 5 DK weight yarns. The first section is 2 color, single brioche. The second section is 1 color, single brioche, and the third section is 2 color, double brioche. Double brioche is when you have 2 stitches for each column instead of 1. And since I was using fingering, mohair, and DK, it was kind of difficult to do the placement the same way she did. So I just ended up with that. What I'm doing is I'm just knitting until I run out of a skein, and then I mean for the pink one, and then I swapped to use only the mohair and the sock light. And when the first one to run out was the sock light, and I have this much left of the mohair, which I'm really happy about because, as you maybe know, I hate leftovers, so this is an okay amount of yarn to, I don't know, but it's an okay amount of yarn to have left. But I forgot to use the yarn in my swatch and I'm really annoyed, especially the pink I had. This was not enough for a last row, but this plus the swatch would have been enough for the last row, so I'm annoyed. But it's gonna be okay, calm down. So yeah, and the modification apart from the colors is for the garter edging here. You can see in the beginning I only have the pink for the garter edge, and then there is a transition where I also have the brown color. The reason for that is that in the pattern you only have to do the edging in one color, which is the main color you're using. And when I did that, maybe you can see, it's hard to show, but it's curling on itself in the beginning, and you can see the fabric of the shawl is bagging. Like, there's too much fabric in the shawl compared to what's in the border. And if I stretch it out, it's okay, but then it gets really stiff, and this stiff part is the one that's going to come to my neck. And as I mentioned for the Tolsta Tee, I cannot stand when I have something coming up to here. So I decided to use both colors for the garter edge, which means sometimes I have to do purling here instead of only knitting. But it's 5 stitches, like, who cares? But yeah, I'm still not happy about this part being the one next to me that's going to be a little bit stiffer. But yeah, I'm not gonna rip back for that, so I just continued for the rest of the shawl to use 2 colors for the edging, and the gauge is like much better like this. So that's it. Just a little note on that if you're interested in this pattern. And yeah, I should be done by next podcast episode, I think. Oh, and the reason why this swatch is only partial is because when I knit with this, I could already see I didn't like the outcome, so I didn't cut my yarn. This one I didn't cut. I did cut the linen one, which I don't know why I did that. So I just unraveled this yarn to get it back to the skin so that I don't have any cuts for when I use this again. So now I have this thing. In case you were wondering, brioche is kind of sturdy. It doesn't unravel on itself. This is mohair, so it's helping to keep the stitches together, but yeah. Brioche is kind of sturdy. Next up, I will talk about the sewing I mentioned earlier. So last year, I asked my cousin to lend me her sewing machine, which she did, and I kept it for a whole year because she wasn't using it anyway, so I just kept it. And I decided I wanted to try quilting. I don't know where to put this. I decided I wanted to try quilting. So I did buy a pattern, which is the Deco quilt by Lo and Behold Stitchery. It's an amazing pattern, I love it so much. It's kind of a modern style, I really like it, and I went on Instagram to find inspiration for the colors. And as you know, I love teals and turquoise, and purples, so I found a picture of the Deco quilt in those colors. If I can find the picture again, I'll put it up somewhere. And I thought, okay, I want this one. So I went on a fabric store not too far away from me, which means not in the US, to buy some fabrics. And the colors were not exactly the ones I wanted. When they arrived, they were quite different from what I could see on the website. And I didn't have the reference for the exact colors from the maker. So I was kind of disappointed, but if I don't see the original picture, I cannot see how better it could have been, so it's okay. I just don't look at the original picture and I'm fine. So I did this quilt top that I could put somewhere here. And then I did the batting sandwich. So I put the batting and the backing fabric. I pinned all of that together. And then I got a new sewing machine for myself, which is the Singer Quantum Stylist something. It's a big one because I knew I wanted to do quilting on it, so I wanted to have a larger throat. And then I got stuck because I couldn't decide what to quilt on my quilt. I didn't know if I wanted to do free motion quilting, but pretty sure I didn't want to do that for my first quilt, because this is the first quilt. So I thought maybe I can do straight line quilting, but since the quilt in itself is already on the diagonal, that like it's not squares aligned with the quilt, it's diamond shaped. I didn't know in what direction put my straight lines, and if I wanted to have them separated by equal distances, or maybe have some in the middle and some aligned with the stitching, or maybe, yeah, I couldn't decide, and I had decision paralysis for a year. And during the middle of the time, I decided I had a lot of fabric left, so I decided I could do the same design for cushion covers, so smaller bits with the leftovers fabric I had, and do quilting on these to try out some stuff and decide what I want to do. So I did the quilt tops for the cushions. I did 4, and then I don't know, I just stopped. Something must have came up, and I just stopped in the middle of the process. So I had my quilt tops, and maybe I knew I didn't have enough backing. I don't know, I stopped. So yeah, and recently Woolen Vine, or Christine Lehrer, has started to do quilts on quilts on quilts. She's been on a quilting kick lately. So it has just inspired me to get back to my cushion covers and really try out something so I can finish this quilt top for real, because I can see it there, it's just sleeping in a shelf, not doing anything. And yeah, I just need to finish it. So I finished my cushion covers. I added a sashing to the border because they were a little bit too small for the cushions I had bought. And then I realized I didn't really have anything for the back of the cushion, but I have enough fabric left, so I just took that and cut it and whatever. And then I realized to do quilting on the top of the cushion, I needed a backing for the front, because you have your cushion, you have the front that's quilted, you have the back where you insert the cushion inside it. But if you want to quilt the front, you cannot quilt it to the back, otherwise you cannot put your cushion inside. So you need another fabric to go behind. I will just show you. So I had to Frankenstein the fabrics I had left to do those backings, because anyway it's hidden inside the cushion, so nobody cares. Also the colors don't really matter, but yeah, it was also a bumpy ride. I did that yesterday, so let me show you one of the 4. Ta-da! So this is one that I have already quilted, so you can see those 4 pieces are leftovers, not leftovers, but are pieces I did following the pattern of the whole quilt. Then I added this sashing around to get to the 50 centimeters or 20 inches I needed for the cushion. And for the back, maybe you can see I had to add some leftovers I had to both sides, because I had cut my fabric so many times to do all of this thing that I didn't have any big pieces left, and I don't have a fabric stash because this is my first project. So yeah, it was kind of complicated. And next to, don't think you can see it, but I still have the piece that will go behind this one and that will sandwich the actual cushion. So I still have to do that. And I have absolutely no idea how to finish a cushion cover, but I will probably find something on YouTube or whatever. Don't know. So this is the first one that's kind of finished, and then I have the 3 others, which are here. So this one is the same for the front, and for the back I used the leftover fabric I had from this one, which is only 2 pieces. There is only one seam in the middle here, and you can see this one is pinned but not quilted yet, so that's how it looks like before the quilting. And I have this one, which is using the leftover from those squares for the border, because I just thought this color would not really fit with this one. So, and I don't have any batting left, and I don't have any backing left either. So this one is unfinished. And this one is using the leftovers from this part for the sashing, and for the back it's leftovers. It's not the same as this one, you can see, maybe. It's not here actually, it's only in the original quilt, it's the diamonds in the middle of the quilt. So yeah, I used every big bit of fabric I had. The only pieces I have left are for the back of the cushions. So I'm happy about that. I don't have any leftovers, apart from really small things and maybe long strips. I don't have any big pieces left, which I'm very happy about. And at least I'm not getting a fabric stash on top of my yarn stash. So yeah, that's how it went yesterday. I still haven't made a decision about the big thing for the quilting, because this is working out pretty well, because when I did those pieces I had way fewer to do, and I had already done the big quilt top, so I was a little bit more sure about what I was doing when sewing. So the corners are quite well aligned. So it was kind of easy to do straight lines that would meet in the corners of every square. It's still not perfect, not sure you can see, but yeah, in the grand scheme of things, it's kind of invisible anyway, but it wasn't too hard to do straight lines aligned with the motif behind. But on the big quilt, since it was my first time sewing that way and doing the quilts at all actually, it's really dodgy. Like really, I think there are no edge that's aligned. Every square like this are kind of overlapping each other, and then these points are rarely coinciding. And yeah, it's really messy. You cannot see it because it's a big quilt anyway, so when there is no quilt lines, it's not really visible, but I'm afraid if I add the quilt lines, it will kind of emphasize the way the stitching is badly done. So I'm not really sure. And also this is fine for a cushion, for the size of a cushion, but I'm thinking maybe for a big quilt, it will be maybe a little bit too much quilting. So maybe I should do only one line out of two. But since the big quilt is supposed to be a cover for my couch, not the type of cover that you remove when you sit on the couch, but the one to protect the couch from your butt and your dirty clothes, so that the couch doesn't get dirty. And it's easier to wash a cover for the couch than the couch in itself. So it's gonna get sit on, it's gonna get rubbed on, it's gonna get quite heavy duty kind of use. So I'm not sure I can really get away with only one line of quilting out of two. Maybe I should do all of them, but then it will be even harder to make them align. There is a part, I can't find it, but there is one section where the line are really like, I can't find it. Maybe it doesn't matter. I don't know. If you have any idea what I should do, or any proposition of how I could quilt the big thing better than that without emphasizing the bad stitching I did, maybe leave it in the comments, because I'm still kind of stuck. It didn't really help me for the final deal, so I don't know. And also on my sewing machine, it's a really, really great machine. I'm really happy with it, and I have all the little pieces I need. I had like, I don't know the words in English for that, but I had 10 different feet to use to sew, and I do have the walking foot, which I installed to do this. And I knew usually on sewing machines, when you have the walking foot, you can insert a guide bar in the walking foot so that you can use the guide bar to be aligned with the next stitch line you did, because the foot is not wide enough to use as a guide for the stitch line when you quilt, because it's usually larger dimensions between your sewing lines. And in my machine, you cannot insert the guide bar in the walking foot. I can put it in the original sewing foot I use for everything, but not in the working foot. And I'm like, what's the point of having a guide bar if you can put it in a working foot, which is exactly the one you use when you have white lines of stitches? I don't understand. So if you have any experience in sewing and you have an input on that as to why I cannot insert the guide bar in there, I looked it up on the YouTube, and the videos I could find, there was an insert for the guide bar in the working foot, but mine does not have this one. And the way the guide bar is inserted in the original foot, that hole is not in the working foot, and I just couldn't find any. So if you have anything to help me about that, maybe something else, maybe I could tape a guide bar to the top of the machine, or I don't know what to do. Yeah, because for this one it's easy because it's a small piece, but on the bigger one, like here, it's kind of difficult to get straight lines because I don't have any corners to guide me. Here it's easy because I just aim for the corners of the squares, but here, yeah, this line was kind of tricky. I had only this line to help me, but it was too far to use the foot as a guide, and I didn't have any guide bar. I'm annoyed. Anyway, that's it for my works in progress. Now, for my acquisitions, I do have some, and as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I have signed up for a test knit for Jessie Mae. Jessie Made. It's Jessie Made Designs. No, it's Jessie Mae Martinson, which is her name, May, and Jessie Made Designs. I looked it up. So I signed up for a test knit for her, and I got chosen to knit size 2 of a secret pattern because she doesn't want us to show the pattern until 1 week before the release, which is understandable because otherwise it's too easy to just steal the pattern and say, hey, it's mine and she stole my pattern. So yeah, I won't give anything away about the pattern in itself, but I bought the yarn for it. So this is the Rerum Natura yarn, and the base is Candide, which is 70% yarn, 28% recycled cotton, and 2% other recycled fibers. It's really soft, and it's listed as a fingering, but it's definitely looks like a sport, and the colorway is Siren. This is 50 gram balls, and it's 128 meters, which equals to 370 meters, which is more like a heavy fingering DK weight. And since this is non-superwash and very fluffy, it definitely knits up as sport, in my opinion, which is perfect because for the Jessie Mae pattern, she uses a heavy fingering in a new base from Magpie, and the gauge is DK gauge. It's a 20 stitch per 10 centimeters gauge. So I think I should get away with this one, with this weight of yarn. And also it's knit on 5mm needles, which is huge compared to all of the summer knitting I have been doing on the very small needles. So I think I should finish this one in like a week. And it's a long-sleeved sweater, and I am contemplating doing it short-sleeved. So really should be very, very quick. So I will cast this one on once I am done ripping back and doing the Tolsta again, and I'm done with the shawl, I think. Probably. So yeah, that's it for my acquisitions and plans. Did I have anything more to add? Nope, I'm done with the knitting and sewing. So regarding my life, nothing really special happened. It's hot, that's all. I went climbing, as I always do. If you know anything about climbing, I can mention I finished my project, which was a 7A+. I'm really happy about. Didn't take me too long. And yeah, I'm now in need of another project, so I should continue to go knitting outside now that the weather is still too hot, but I'm hoping it will get better soon. I do have a video of indoor climbing. Yeah, it's kind of shaky in the beginning, and at the end it's kind of blurry. But yeah, you can still see what's happening. And if you followed in my previous episodes the rant about my body shape and how my shoulders are huge compared to my bust size, You can see in that video my back gets quite intense in some moves, and you can see why I'm having so much trouble. It's kind of hard to see from the front, but yeah, in that video you see me from the back, and if you are wondering why I am complaining this much about the fit of my basic t-shirts, you can see why it's important there. And also I got a comment on a previous video. Someone suggested to find other knitters that have same athletic body shapes as me, which weirdly enough I didn't think about. I don't know, it never occurred to me that knitting people that knit could be athletic and I could be not the only one somehow, but I don't know, I just never really thought about it. And she's right, I should definitely find designers that have the same body type as me so that I don't struggle that much with fitting in normal shaped garments. Or why don't I just knit menswear? It should be shaped for me because it's just my shoulders and my back that are too wide. So I should just knit stuff for men. So that's probably what I do, so that I can at least get the experience to know how men's knitwear are shaped, so that I can apply this experience to women's shaped knitwear and just know how to modify things the good way, like from the first try, and not having to knit the whole thing, see it doesn't fit, rip back and redo it. So yeah, I will probably think about that more and try that out in the future. So I think that's it for today. I shall now go and frog my Tolsta. I will leave you with the footage of me climbing, as I mentioned, and yeah, if you have any input on that Tolsta fit issues, maybe if you have knitted yourself and you have anything to say about the way it fits for you in the front and in the back, yeah, just tell me if you have anything for that. And I think that's all. The heat wave is going strong everywhere, I think, this time. So stay hydrated. Don't forget to drink a lot of water or anything that doesn't dehydrate you in the process. Yeah, I will see you next time. Bye!